What is going on, guys? We are back playing some more Enigmatica 6, and today we're going to be setting up some auto-crafting using the Dissolution chamber and automating the collection of latex. Now, before we get into today's episode, there is one extremely important thing we have to take care of, and that is dealing with the infinity drill and the fact that it has the curse of vanishing on it. So if you watched last episode, at the very end, after we made the infinity drill, we charged it up to epic tier, filled it up completely with biofuel. As you can see, it's all good to go. We decided to enchant it, and it got silk touch, it got unbreaking of some level. That's all awesome. Unfortunately, it also got the curse of vanishing. And with that comes the risk of this disappearing if I ever die. And I don't like to admit it, but I die a fair bit. Obviously, I've got some semi-decent armor on now. It's nothing crazy good, but I still die to some of those crazy modded Minecraft mobs that have literally one-shot me when I am out doing stuff. So I do not want to risk losing this thing, and I would argue that this is probably one of the worst things to get this on. Like infinity tools and late game, mechanism armor and stuff like that has upgrades in it, and it's charged up and it takes a lot of resources to get, and you can just dump stuff into it. That's probably some of the worst stuff to lose, because you're not just losing the craft, you're losing everything you put into it up until that point. And again, I can't remember the number for this. It's like when you get it fully charged, the number goes up to like 9.223 quintillion or something like that, something crazy. So if we actually charge this thing up using antimatter or legitimate power, we're losing out on a ton if it disappears. So we need to get rid of this. And really the only way I can see to do that is using one of your suggestions. So first off, I want to run through what I did so far, because you might notice it's only got the curse of vanishing on it. So I used initially the enchantment extractor, which is from Industrial Foregoing. It's the counterpart to the enchantment factory. So this applied the enchant that we totally regret now, and this should be able to remove it. Unfortunately, and this probably makes sense in hindsight, if I put this in there, and we'll see right now, it runs it through there, and out comes the same exact thing. So it removed the silk touch portion, and it removed the unbreaking portion, but the curse of vanishing is still there. And we got a sweet bucket of essence out of those enchants coming off of it. So the curse is still there, just the actual good stuff's gone now. So it's even worse. But I was also recommended to use the black rune from Quark, and so I used that because I had one. And I think that also removes enchants, and so it did not remove the curse. So I think the only way to deal with it that I believe should work, because it explicitly states in its description that it removes curses, is the prismatic cobweb. So this one can be used to remove curses. It's pretty simple to craft. This was recommended to me by one of you guys in the comments, so thank you for that. I had no idea how to deal with it. So we're going to craft one of these up, and we're just going to hope that this works. So I'm assuming you do this in an anvil, but I do want to try, because I know sometimes these are treated like enchantments. I want to try the enchantment applicator over here. So let me see if this works. Or does it need to be in an anvil? Okay, so it does not treat that like an enchantment. I don't know if that works with things like the runes from Quark or how you apply this, but I'm going to assume it's an anvil. So we're just going to craft an anvil real quick right here, because I do not believe I have one laying around anywhere. I might have one literally right upstairs right now, but I don't know. So let's see. Okay, so it will get rid of it, but it requires 30 levels, and all of my levels right now are over there in essence. So I gotta go deal with that real quick. So now we should be good to get into the main portion of today's episode, and I am super excited to finally be dealing with the Dissolution chamber. Now, when we started working with Industrial Foregoing, you guys recommended in the comments that I automate crafting with the Dissolution chamber because it'd be a fun project, and because I was using Industrial Foregoing a lot, and I was doing a lot of crafting on camera with the Dissolution chamber, and admittedly, it was a bit of a pain, because this one, you can have up to 8 different materials required. Thankfully, they do not require any specific order in here. They can just be thrown in here wherever. but it also requires a fluid, and that could be latex, it could be pink slime, it could be a couple different things. And so you're inputting a lot of stuff in here to craft one single item, and it could be anything from add-ons, they're all going to have different recipes, to the infinity drill, to different machine frames. All that stuff is going to require the dissolution chamber, pretty much everything past extremely early game industrial foregoing. And so automating this so that you can just plop a recipe in there in the crafter and let it go and not have to deal with it is a super nice thing. So I'm finally going to be tackling that today, super excited, and it will end up on this wall over here and no longer be sitting right here in the base. So it'll be nice and clean and open again, which is great. The only thing is, with the crafting of this, we need latex. And so if we want to do auto crafting with this, we kind of need it to be stored in our refined storage system so we can fill up the fluid slot whenever we need it. Obviously, we already got pink slime being produced right over here, and I think we've solved most of the issue with this being dumped in here. So yeah, I mean, we have like 577 buckets of pink slime. That's more than enough because it's really not frequently used when you do crafting with industrial foregoing, only for the very high tier machine frames. But either way, we need to automate the collection of latex and put it into our refined storage system so then we can use it for auto crafting with this. So we're going to grab up the dissolution chamber and we can get rid of this quantum entangloporter because we should not need that. And we can start putting stuff together over here. Now I'm going to put it on this upper level here and start filling this out with machines, but it's not going to be as clean as this one down here just because of how things are going to go. But we should be able to just kind of scaffolding our way up there. And I'm not sure exactly how I'm going to do this, but we can just kind of clear out this wall right here. And we're going to have to get some wiring from below. But the first thing, like I said, that we're going to be doing is automating the collection of latex. And so we got 2 fluid extractors right here. I'm only going to be using 2, and I'm actually not even going to give these power because they don't need to really be that fast. I'm not super concerned with them going quickly, because they're going to be running 24/7. And I do a lot of crafting with industrial foregoing, but I don't do that much crafting. I know you guys probably think I do because all the videos I put out are involving industrial foregoing, but really in the grand scheme of things, I don't do that much crafting other than add-ons here and there. And so I only am going to be putting down 2 of these, but I think I'm going to put one down right here. And if we shift click, will it orient properly? Okay, so they just don't want to orient properly. Oh no! Oh no, give me these back. They're getting rid of the logs. It's breaking the log in my base. That's gonna bother me. Let's put that back to it's ruined. This I ruined this log. Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, we'll just not let that happen again. I need to get a different one for that then because I ruined that. Okay, so I finally got them oriented properly. That was a little bit more painful than it needed to be, but now we need to fix this spruce log issue going on over here. So I don't know what is going on with this, but it's like it's visually bugged out. So I don't know how we'll deal with that, but anytime I place down a log right in this block, it's messed up. So I'm really hoping that the solution to this is not just to let a fluid extractor consume this stripped log and then place a new one down after I remove it, but that actually legitimately might be the only solution. I have no idea. I'll mess around with it later. Maybe I just need to close out and reopen the game. I don't know. But either way, we're going to try really hard as a group to not let this bother us. And that's definitely not going to work because it's still bothering me. But either way, we got work we need to do with the other stuff. So these right here are going to be extracting latex from acacia that's going to be placed right in front of them. Now, if you guys don't know, you can have multiple fluid extractors extracting latex from the exact same block. And so it's fine that we're just putting one down here. It's just going to get consumed faster. So what we need to do is put down a constructor and a destructor so that we place the acacia. And then once it's stripped, I want to break it. Which might sound kind of weird because you still get latex out of the stripped block and then eventually it'll disappear, but you get it at half the rate. And so if I have a decent amount of acacia, I would just want to get it back once it's stripped, and then I can still turn that into 4 planks, so that's fine. So what we're going to do is I just need to get something out so I can place these down properly, and let's see how this probably is going to orient wrong again. So we should just go like this, and let's see if I can get this properly. So we want the destructor on the bottom. So that should be good right there, as we can see. And I have fallen down in between these cables. Okay, so it was really annoying working in a confined area back here, and because I kept falling down there, I have cleared it out a little bit more. But now that we have the destructor here, obviously we just saw, and I can show you again, we clearly need to set some form of whitelist because this thing is just going to break anything that is put in front of it. So it's obviously already hooked up to this interface here, so it's connected to the whole refined storage system, which is great. But we can actually come in here and we're going to search up stripped acacia, and if we take a look, we got it right there. We should be able to go in here and just drag it right over here. And we want to set this to be whitelist. So now if we place down our cobblestone, it should not break this. And that's exactly what we want. So it doesn't end up breaking the block that has not been stripped yet. So now we should be good to place down our constructor. So I am just going to come right up here, place down our cobblestone, place the constructor down right on top of that, and we can just wire this in however we want. I need to make sure the rest of the system is all connected and good to go, but now we have the part that's going to place it down once it's eventually hooked up to the refined storage system, and this one, we just need to set it to acacia. So we're just going to get regular, not stripped acacia and put it in there. And once this is then hooked up, it'll put one down. I don't know how it's going to orient it. Might orient it a little bit weird, but hopefully it'll look fine. And it doesn't really matter the orientation for the collection of the latex, it's just so it looks good. But now we need to worry about getting the fluid into the system from the fluid extractors, and we're going to do this using a fluid interface. Now I believe you don't need a full-on interface to do this, but I think the interface looks a lot cleaner, and then we are only going to need one of them for both of these. And so we're going to be using that and the ultimate mechanical pipes. So I'm just going to put down a mechanical pipe coming off of each of these. We're just going to set them to pull it out so we don't even need to worry about the configuration on the side. And it'll be a lot faster if these are pulling instead of these dumping. And then I think I'm trying to make sure everything back here is hooked up properly so that when we leave, we do not need to come back here, but we should probably be good to just dig out over here since we're going to be putting down the dissolution chamber anyway. And we can kind of exit out this way. And I need to put down some more torches back here because it's getting a little bit dark. But we should be good to put down our fluid interface right here. These will dump the latex in here. And then this just needs to be hooked up to our system. So this can be hooked up to this. And then this can be hooked up to this. And you could hear the acacia just got placed down. And unfortunately, we didn't get to fully see it on camera. But if we come out, we can see the acacia is now placed. It's being broken. These are slowly collecting the latex and it's being dumped into our system. Now, the only thing is we need to have a place to actually store the latex because you can see it's sitting in here. It doesn't have anywhere to go in our system yet because we don't have any fluid storage over there. So before we go and hop down real quick, I am going to dump in a speed, an efficiency, and a processing add-on in all of these. So they're going to run faster. They're not going to need power, but they'll run faster. And then we're going to come over here and we're going to take out one of these storage disks that's not being currently used. And thankfully, we have a little bit more room because if we look in here, this sand, all this sand has been moved. So it is no longer on any of these disks. It's on the external storage. Got that all sorted out. I did it using just an extractor, disconnected the external storage part, pulled all the sand out of the disks, and then reattached it. So should be good to go. And we can dump in this 4096K fluid storage disk right here. And this will now accept fluid. So now in our system, we have fluid in here that is going to be storing all the latex we get from up there. And I don't know, did I craft one? Yes. Okay. So I have a fluid grid right here and we can put this down. Now we can put it down right over here. It doesn't really matter. But if we put this down and then get out some lime dye so it doesn't look gross anymore with our system, we can dye that up so it matches. And if we come in here, we can see we now have 2 buckets of latex. And yes, again, I know it's not coming in crazy fast. I still think this is a respectable speed, obviously, because usually these for add-ons, it uses 1 bucket. For the machine frames, it tends to use like 250 millibuckets. But again, if this is running 24/7, we're actually probably going to get more than we need and want an off switch for the system up there so that we don't totally overload our fluid storage with just latex. But I think that that looks pretty nice. Now, I am going to have to kind of work around the fact that the constructor and destructor are not able to, or you can see them, and we have some of the cabling behind them too. So I don't know if there's any facades for refined storage stuff or that work with those, but we can kind of cover up the rest of the blocks up there and make it look at least a little bit cleaner. So we can kind of put down some of the wood for all of these. And I think we have, we got some spruce still in our inventory. So we can cover up those. And then really it's just the remaining stuff going on back here. And an easy solution would just be to kind of cover up, all the way around back here. So when you can see into the back of it, it doesn't look gross. So I might just do that as the solution for the time being. So you can kind of see here. So we'll just cover that. You cover that. And you do the same with that right there. And I think that should look fine from the front. Yeah, you can still see down there though. Oh, because we have some XNet stuff down there. And up there, you gotta get that one. Okay, well that looks okay for the time being. I'll see if there's anything we can place to kind of cover that up and make it look nicer. But either way, this is now working, and we should get to see relatively soon that this will break the acacia once it gets stripped, and then it'll place down a new one. And I think I have probably like 4 stacks of acacia in my refined storage system right now, so I might need a little bit more, but for, whatever amount of latex I need, it should be sufficient for the time being. And now we should be good to start on the dissolution chamber, which is actually really easy to set up because it's going to be eerily similar to all the stuff that I have going on down below it. So we can probably put this one probably right over here next to it so that we can save space in case any more machines need to go up here. But we're going to start out by putting the crafter right here. And I don't think I have my refined storage wrench on me right now, but it should be over here somewhere in our system so that I can rotate these because I can never get them oriented properly in the system, but we'll just get that. Okay, there. Wanted to go there on its last one. And then we're just going to put down our, I don't know how you like shift click place stuff on scaffolding, if that's even possible, but I'm trying to get this oriented properly. You know what? We're just going to come over here, place it down, and there we go. We can wrench it because I guess the refined storage wrench works on Industrial Foregoing stuff, which is awesome. I should have used it for the fluid extractors. I didn't even realize that. But now this is facing out properly. Crafting recipes will be for the dissolution chamber, and this can input both items and fluids if you did not know. So this is fine with having whatever kind of crafting recipes that you need, whether it's items only, fluids, both. And then all we're going to do is put an interface right above it. And we're going to set this with its output to push out the top into this interface. And then we just need to connect this to the rest of the refined storage system. So we're going to run this down here. The only thing that we need to do is also connect this to XNet because we need power going to the dissolution chamber. And that's the only thing we need going here from XNet, but we still need it going here. So I do not want this on. So we're just going to disable, we want that one. Okay, so there we go. And then we're going to put a cable down below this because we don't need another connector. So there we go. So now we should be able to set a power channel for this, which is great. But I need to get this connected to some other portion of the system. So what is the easiest one to wire it to right here? It's probably going to have to be this guy over here, which is kind of annoying because this is not going to look pretty. But you know what? It's behind the scenes. There we go. Okay, well now it's hooked up. If there were more of these across the top like there are down here, it would be a lot easier because they just connect to adjacent ones. But now this is hooked up, so this is good to pull items out of this and put them back into the system. And we should be good to fill this in over here and go and set the XNet channel for this. And we're just going to break our way down and we can take a look and see how it looks. Not too bad. Not too bad. I really wish there were facades for these or something to make them look better. I wish there were full blocks for these, really. I don't know if there are. I know that we could probably find a way to use the Industrial Foregoing block placer and block destroyer. I might look into that if there's no way to get full blocks for those because I don't really like how that looks. But either way, now we need to come over here. Go to our controller, we got the dissolution chamber here, create, insert energy, and thankfully we have reach, so this now has power going on up there. Probably should make some add-ons for this, but I'll deal with that later. I did not think ahead to do that, but we can automate the production of some of those add-ons actually, so not too bad. But now we need to make some recipes for this, and this is, oh my god, that thing right there is bothering me so much. Let me know if that's bothering you guys. because I want to know if I'm the only one that's extremely triggered by that, or if you guys are too. Like, I need to put like a trigger warning in the video. But we now have our latex in here, and we need to set up recipes. And this is something that I know a lot of people get confused on, is how to set up recipes that use fluid and items. And this one is very interesting because it's going to use, if we take a look, we'll do add-ons first. So if we take a look at the add-on, the fancy new processing add-on, right? It takes 8 items, but it also takes latex. Now, this is nice right here because it takes 1 bucket. And ooh, it just did the breaking and replacing. Awesome. But it takes 1 bucket. Not every recipe takes a full exact bucket. So we're going to go over how to do the crafting for this, especially with things that use a fraction of a bucket of fluid. So the first thing in the fluid grid, we right click and we're going to get a bucket of latex. So we had an empty bucket in our inventory. We right click, it buckets that out to us. Now we can go to our pattern grid, and let's say we want to make the processing tier 2 add-on. So we are going to go to the recipe for this, and we are just going to have that clicked right in there. So this is a processing one. It's going to take a furnace, diamond gears, redstone dust, 2 glass panes, and I don't know if the processing one cares about specifics, but we can set alternatives for this. I assume just any forge workbench works, and we can just apply that and set, and it's all good. It should accept any of them. I don't know if it already does. I know we were talking before about the exact recipe being checked, but I don't know how it works with processing. But either way, we now have the item set, but now we need to set the fluid for this. And so we're going to go and click the type items. Now we are on fluids. It already has latex set to 1 bucket. So that's awesome. It's perfectly correct in that. And if you needed to change this, which you might for future recipes, I don't know if it automatically does it, but if you need to change this, you can left click on this and change the amount of millibuckets in there to be exact. So if it doesn't work out perfectly using, and we can try it right now really quickly. If we go to one of the machine frames, I want to see if this does it. So not this one. Where is it? We need the uses for this. In the dissolution chamber. So right here, 250 latex. So let's do the recipe for this. Oh, it actually does it. You don't need to set it manually. Wow, it actually properly pulls the fluid. Impressive. That's actually really nice. That makes their job a lot easier. We don't even need this bucket of latex. Wow. Very nice. Okay, well now we have the recipe though for one of these that we wanted. So we can just dump this right in here. I always have to check because if I'm holding shift, I'm like, oh, which one is it? Because it shows the item on here. But now it's in there and we should have the ability to craft it. So if we look it up, I don't know if we have everything we need for this. But if we go to processing, we've got the processing and we are missing a furnace and diamond gears. So those are 2 things that we also probably should just make recipes for. So if we have the diamond gears, because I use those for a couple things, if we get the recipe for that, we can craft those. And, it doesn't matter really for this one for the exact recipe, but we can uncheck that. And then we can make sure that that's not checked for future ones. I don't think it, again, really matters with this because it doesn't have anything in here that would be affected by that. But maybe for the furnace, if there's multiple things that are applicable, I don't know. But if we want to toss this, yeah, there would be. So, okay, so it has this one. Does this work? This is going to be my trial because does it work with any stone then? If I put this in, let's see. I want to see if this works with any stone because that just seems so messed up that it's, I don't know if because it's a flavolite furnace, if it's not going to work, if it needs to actually just be a furnace, but let's see. I'm interested in seeing if this works. Yeah, okay, so it doesn't. So it doesn't, if you don't put exact, it still needs to be like a subset of the same thing. Where did I put that? Over here. Yeah, so that's a little bit annoying, but I guess we can just kind of manually set that. So, or is this the other pattern? Let's just reset both of these and dump them back in here. And I will do the diamonds with the iron nuggets, which are somewhere in here. There we go, not on exact. And then we will do a furnace, which I should have just done manually on my own to start, not exact. There we go. Now we have everything needed to auto craft this whole thing as many times as we want. I think we might need to automate glass panes too, but if we go to processing now and we want to make one of these, start, and we should be able to see the dissolution chamber running. There we go. It dumped in the proper amount of latex. We got our spruce crafting table in there, so it works properly with that. And it pulls it out in the interface and dumps it into our system. So that's how that whole thing works. That's how you do auto crafting with this. It's really nice that you actually don't need to deal with the bucketing of stuff. Now I just have kind of a bucket. Is there any way to like dump this? Oh, you just left click it in there. Very nice. I didn't even know that. I was going to say, is there any way to dump the bucket back in the system if I don't want it? But I guess asked and answered pretty much. But yeah, so that's everything hooked up, and now you can just kind of go through, and if I wanted to, because I guess it does it for us, we can just easily say, efficiency add-on. We, kind of dump that recipe in there. We got the speed tier 2 add-on, dump that recipe in there, and then we can do the machine frames. If I could type, we have the pity machine frame, which is not going to require the dissolution chamber, but is still a good one to have. And then we have the simple machine frame, which does require the dissolution chamber. We have the advanced machine frame, which also requires the dissolution chamber and some serious resources. And then even more so serious resources coming from this one. And I think that's pretty much it that we would need for this. So then we can just go dump in over here the ones that are not required. So that would be, I think just that one is the only non-dissolution chamber one. All the rest of these are processing, and then these can all go in here, and that should be good. So now we can kind of automate the production of all the stuff that we need from the dissolution chamber. And I can do some of the lower tier add-ons if I want, because we have used those in kind of niche cases, I guess, where we don't want things to go too fast. We need like an exact speed, like in the ore processing. But for the time being, that should actually be pretty good. And you can see we already have, almost 30 buckets of latex in here just from the portion of me recording this episode, which is probably like 30 minutes to an hour of time total spent in the world. So not too bad. Now, there are a couple things that I want to do now that we finished that up for the episode. And the first one, a huge thank you to you guys for this suggestion, because I didn't know you could do this, but you can actually put an efficiency add-on in the ore laser base, and it will only take, I think it should only take 80. People said it only took 80 if you put this in here. So I am going to assume, there we go. Okay, it took forever to switch to it, but now it is at 80. So it's going 20% faster, which is even better. So we're getting even more ore coming from this now, which is awesome. This thing is generating so much ore that I am just thrilled with the setup. Obviously, we have no issues with resources right now, and there was another snag in the system, so it got held up on processing chunks again, so we're still waiting on some of these. But eventually we'll get through all of them now that we have those processing upgrades in the ore processing system too. But yeah, we got a fair bit of resources going on here, so super happy with that. I appreciate the recommendation from you guys. Definitely an awesome one. And the only other thing I wanted to touch on was probably the most controversial thing from last episode. And I guess that I missed hitting on the auto sort function on the infusers after I upgraded them, because I had placed them down. There's no reason to have the auto sort on. I don't even know if it's an option when it's not upgraded at least one tier, because there's not more than one slot. But when I upgraded them, I forgot to turn them on. Now, if you saw me access any other machine, they were already on in everything. So I do know that's a function, but I had a little bit of a, oversight, and I forgot to turn it on. And I appreciate you guys reminding me, but it definitely became, very controversial. I probably got about 20 or 30 different comments, all saying the same thing, that I forgot to turn this on. And some people said that it was so bothersome to them that they literally could not physically bring themselves to watch that portion of the video. Like, it was so mentally or physically painful to them that they couldn't watch it. And, to people that have that problem with it, maybe that's something to look into, because that's a little bit concerning because it's a video game. But I will say that to any of you that think I am a Minecraft expert, I am not. Right? I make mistakes just like every other YouTuber. This was such a small oversight, and it was a little bit disappointing because I took, as what I tried to do was take as many viewer suggestions as I could for the episode and implement them at the beginning of the episode so everyone got to see their suggestions being put in, because I try to read the comments and I appreciate you guys giving me all these recommendations. And the only thing people seemed to notice out of everything was this one little button right here. You know, instead of all the stuff that I thought was, you know, really, really awesome that we got to implement. So I will try my best not to make oversights like that again, but I like to touch on that, and I'm going to ramble for a bit because if you guys watch, you know, my videos, you might also watch Lashmack's videos, and he recently had to end his Enigmatica 6 series because he lost enjoyment for it because one or a few of his viewers were leaving kind of rude comments you know, about his series on his channel in relation to his Enigmatica 6 series, and it just made it not enjoyable for him anymore. And, you know, for people who do YouTube kind of as a hobby, which obviously is both of us, it is something that we come on and do for fun. We do because we like putting out videos for you guys. It's fun to interact with you. And obviously, if that fun kind of goes away because people leave rude comments, it can be hard to bring yourself to spend hours a day prepping and recording and editing, really just to put it up for other people to enjoy alongside you. And so I would just like to caution people. Obviously, I like to pride myself on having, you know, relatively thick skin. So if you guys want to leave meme comments and stuff like that, that's cool. But, you know, when you go around and comment on videos on YouTube to certain people, especially people who don't do it full time, really be cognizant of what you're saying and how it could be interpreted by other people, because I feel horrible that he had to end his series. I was having a ton of fun doing challenges with him and kind of bantering back and forth. And now it's done because someone ruined the enjoyment for him. And that's very sad for me to hear. And they probably didn't mean anything bad by it, honestly, but it just got interpreted a little bit differently. And now the series is done. So that's just something I wanted to kind of touch on. Obviously, I'm not saying that in relation to you guys commenting on the auto sort function, but I wanted to ramble about that a bit at the end of the video, just because I know sometimes it can affect certain people. And I felt really, really bad hearing that that happened to him because he was doing an awesome job playing in the Enigmatica 6 series. So unfortunately, I don't think we're going to be able to do any challenges against Lash anymore in the series, but maybe if he decides to come back, we can. Either way, though, hopefully you guys enjoyed today's episode. If you did, be sure to subscribe so you never miss out on a future one, as they come out every Monday and Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and I will talk to you guys later.